Well, again, collectors, so we have another resin model by MY64 of a fairly significant car. So this is the prototype car of the Ferrari 250 GTO, according to this retromotor.co.uk. It says here, original factory prototype, chassis 3387. It had a simple Spartan interior. This is restored, and the person says they restored it to look like their real car. So there's no top of the dashboard, there's no shift gate there, because it wasn't finalized yet by Ferrari. Again, being a prototype, just an open gutted door there. It placed second at Sebring, and it was the only car to have a riveted on rear wing, whereas the other ones are blended in. So yeah, interesting. Okay, so here are the photos of it at Lemans, and let's get into this model and compare it to these photos. So yeah, chassis number matches up. Number 17 placed third place at the 62 24-hour. Big, heavy, strong box. And then it's wrapped in plastic to keep that box from scratching the display case. Paper is abrasive, in case you didn't know that. If you take a piece of copy paper and rub it against your car, you will see fine scratches in your car's clear coat. I'm gonna have to get some scissors here. But if I scratch the bottom, I don't really care. Actually, if I scratch the top, I don't even care. Hold on here. I gotta resituate the camera. So loose cover. Don't pick it up by the cover. I guess it's good that it's super loose so the model doesn't drop to the floor. And then, these are old photographs. I'm actually surprised they're in color. Alright, you'll have to ask yourself if that looks like the photos. Get a little closer there. And you can see here, it's totally different contrast of blue. This definitely looks very saturated. This photograph, that is. Look how dark the red is there. And that's everyone's got a really dark tan, so it's possible that was, photoshopped. And then here's a rear view. Oh wow, it actually has the same license plate. This wacky thing here. But it doesn't have the prancing horse. Huh. Alright, that's strange. Right off the bat, my first notice is the metallic paint. It's like a sky blue. Really faint blue. A lot of silver going on, but a hint of blue. Alright, let's go to the front wheel. It's the same as the other resin 250 GTOs. It's a photo edge. Two pieces of photo edge become the spokes, bent in a cone. And then there's a round disc or some sort of brake system indicated way back there. The center knockoff is photo etched as well. It's three-dimensional. I'm trying to show you the conicalness of these spokes and the double layering of them. Gotta zoom in. So hopefully you can see the middle is sticking out more than the edges of the spokes. And hopefully you can see as I twist it, there's actually two layers of spokes in there, or there should be. I don't know if you guys see it, but it's there. Alright, you got this front marker, very shiny, so I think it's a piece of resin. And then you have two side vents painted black, and there's some depth to those side vents. Might be hard for you to pick up, but there's the pick. See, it actually goes in a decent amount. And then we have this NART, North American Racing Team. Is that what it is? I don't know. Just guessing. Prancing horse. And then the 17. You notice there's no wrinkliness of a decal. So I think whatever this is, I think it's under the clear coat. This feels perfectly smooth. And then we have maybe a light for this number. And yeah, I think these are lights. Someone commented on one of my P4 reviews. Or P3 Ferrari reviews. So thank you. Yeah, and then this is the door handle, this round thing with the little finger pull. We have two sliding, windows it's mimicking. I do think they might be painted, which is why you can see an orange peel effect. Then there's a photo etched piece of metal for the chrome work. There's a little vent, and I think this is a fuel filler door. There's a little line going across the body here. Alright, these fender flare things. And then that vent actually is a real vent going to the tires. I'm gonna see if, no, that cap is so small I can't even get a toothpick in there. There, you can see the toothpick. So what's cool is there's actually like a mud flap, and that's a photo etched piece of metal. It's so thin, it's thinner than this toothpick. A little paint is knocked off. Oh well, it's too bad. Let's get around to the front. So the headlight covers, they're very clear, and then the headlight itself is a separate piece, or two pieces probably. It looks like there's a bucket with a light bulb, but there's a clear dome in front of it. Not sure if you can pick up on that dome. And then the headlight cover has this metal piece with photo etching to show like the rivets or the screws holding that thing on. There's a really shiny thing here. I don't know if that's a ball bearing or a piece of plastic, but it's highly reflective. And then you have these lights here which are highly shiny, and I think those might be resin on top of a piece of photo etched metal. The grill itself is non-existent. This is just a dark void, but it bottoms out that deep. But now if I get some light in there, you see there's a photo etched radiator. Very fine etching, right? Very impressive. Very far back there. You can also see the three vents on the bottom. They are molded and painted black, and the same up top. Okay, I think these vents up top might actually go in a bit too. Yeah, see? That's going in and touching that radiator. So very cool. Well, I don't know if this... I can't tell in the photograph. The Ferrari badge is centered with this vent, but the 17, it's over here. But if you factor in this, maybe that's just the way it was. Maybe that's how they centered the 17. It just looks a little weird to have this tangency of this 7 running into the badge there. And it looks like a part of the badge is cut off there. I now see this. Oh, yeah, that was a vent too, I think, maybe on certain Ferraris. This outline. Okay, there's a power bulge, and the white stripe is going over it quite well. You have these clear scoops that channel air into the hood, and you can see photo etched pieces under them. Maybe those are the air filters, I'm not sure. This one has a little micro wind blocker here with a photo etched base, and then the hood latches are photo etched as well. There's two round things, and then there's a connecting thing that's actually vertical, like you can get your finger in there. And then you have two other straps, which I think are photo etched painted brown. You'll notice the gap here is actually recessed, this stripe, so that's realistic. There's no, if it was a decal, there'd just be air behind that white stripe. But this one's literally going in there, so it's realistic. I assume these are representing the windshield wiper fluid, and then the wiper blades themselves are chromed metal, bent 90 degrees, perpendicular to the windscreen. The windscreen has the photo etch around it. Alright, going to this side. Nice rounded tires. The rims are metal. I assume those rims of the wheels are actually CNC metal, maybe steel. I don't know if they're aluminum or steel. They look like they're steel, but then again, if they're stainless, that'd be really hard to machine. Okay, well, anyways, that all looks good. It's interesting, this 17 is cut off, but that is the side photograph. They didn't bother with the extra part of the circle on the race car. Alright, yeah, that little fender mudguard, it looks better. It's all blue. The exhaust tips sticking out quite a bit. They're so round, they're so thin, I have to assume those are metal tubes because they are hollow, painted black in the middle. And then you have a photo etch piece for this diffuser thing, and maybe a fuel tank there with straps. Let me hit focus again. New York State, USA. That almost looks like a handwritten license plate. But maybe that's what license plates looked like in the early 60s. I don't know. If you remember those times, please leave a comment. The lights look good, They're reflected, they're translucent, yet they're shiny. So I think this resin on top of shiny photo etch pieces. I think these again are lights for this missing Ferrari badge. So maybe this is MY64 avoiding some sort of copyright issue and being sued by Ferrari. Although one would think if you make a model that looks like a Ferrari, you'd be sued for that and not the logo. Alright, so the 17 up here looks good as well. And again, look at the body gap, how the white goes down in there. So that's good. And then I think again those are lights for the number if it's a 24-hour race or something. I do wish that first of all, this is wrong. The rear photo, this fuel tank is up in here, the filler is up in the glass, which seems really odd to have. They literally drilled a hole through the, oh, but it must have been a plastic plexiglass rear window, so then you could drill a hole through that easily. But anyways, this is supposed to be something up here, so they skipped that. This is supposed to be some sort of sponsorship, that area. So that's not accurate. The stripes here, let's see, they look pretty aligned to me. Yeah, I would say if you look at the bottom edge, there to there, there to there, that looks pretty straight. So unfortunately this rear wing, it doesn't have any indication that it's riveted on or screwed on. There's no small dots, which I have seen in other models. I mean, they could have printed it or actually had photo etched round dots on there. But this wing is not a separate piece. It's just part of this resin casting, so that's not quite accurate either. That is too bad. Alright, I'm going to have to put this down, and we'll see if I can hit focus and get the flashlight and see what kind of interiors, if it matches that photograph I showed. Alright, let me zoom in. That's as far as I can go, zooming in. Stabilize the camera. Alright, the shifter does look good, except it's actually not accurate to the photograph. It's actually raised. So this is the same interior as the other 250 GTO's MY64 did. And it has the photo etch gate, which actually doesn't exist on this prototype car. So this is actually not accurate to the photographs. One thing that is accurate, it looks like, is the doors, how they're hollowed out back there. So I think that's pretty accurate. The blue seats don't have much headrest action. There's a rear view mirror hanging right there. This lap belts, there's half of a lap belt. I guess the other half just would be laying on the floor. And that possibly might be a photo etched buckle. You know, it's a little raised from the blue surface. I don't think it's a decal. I think it actually has some thickness to it. Okay. So one thing they did get is the lack of a top of the dashboard. You know, it just has all the exposed venting and fuse boxes and whatever was there on the real car. So that they did get right. It's going to have gas pedals and clutch pedals and all that stuff. There they are. They are photo etched, it looks like. Maybe some extra details. Hold on, where did the flashlight go? It's really hard to do. Like getting just the light in there. But yeah, maybe that's the brake pedal and the clutch to the left of it. It looks like there's some, details etched into it, and they're, I think, hanging from the top. They're not on the floor pedals. Oh, the steering wheel probably has a Ferrari horse. Yeah, some indication of the prancing horse. And then the instrument cluster. I didn't even pay attention to that in my other reviews. Yeah, there's gauges. So, let me reduce this light. Actually, it's only 15 lumens, so. But yeah, there's some gauges. Probably a decal, maybe. Yeah, there's another view of it. I can't zoom in any further. So that's good. Alright. One last thing is there's actually a photo etched piece of metal joining what would be the fuel filler here, the door, and it's taking a bend down towards the base of the fuel tank. That thing through the glass there. So that is neat. here. We're going to look at all the 3 other resins of this car. The first one I bought was by SCM. None of these have branding on them, so I wouldn't be surprised if they come out with the same livery again under a different name. What makes this one different is the blended in tail. You know, it's covering the full width of the trunk. And also this has blocked off rear vents. And this one has side pipes. It doesn't have rear pipes. So then later I got the green one. And this has 3 gills in the side. And it has louvers on the hood. Those would be the main distinguishing features of that one. It also has a front license plate. And then the one after that, this one, supposedly is, I guess, the first production car. Whereas this is the prototype car, supposedly. You know, I'm just getting this from the internet. Now, you notice the rear vent of this doesn't have the, like, rounded back end. It's just a, you know, very similar to the ones in front, where all these have the rounded rear vents. And this has no rear wing whatsoever. So, and it has the plainest hood, whereas these have scoops, a scoop and a windshield blocker, just a windshield blocker, louvers, and this is just, well, that also has the scoops, but no louvers or windshield blocker. So it's nice that whatever factory is making these models, since they have access to good photos of all these GTOs, since they're all documented and, you know, part of automotive history, that it's safe to assume that there might eventually be 36 models of these cars. You know, because there's 36, I think, accounted for in the world. I don't think they were destroyed, but correct me if I'm wrong. That's just one internet source. I got the impression that all 36 are tracked and accounted for. But maybe they're just tracked and some were destroyed or wrecked in races. So as far as the actual accuracy to the photographs, today's version is actually the worst. It actually has too much detail in the interior, and then that rear wing doesn't show any indication of riveting. So that's too bad. But it's still a fantastic looking model. I mean, I couldn't make this model. I suppose I could, but it wouldn't look that nice. It would look like a 6-year-old did it. So I think these things are really miniature pieces of art, really. And so for the price of these, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? For me, it is. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next resin video.